This is the book analysis for To Sleep with the Angels, the story of a fire. To Sleep with the Angels is a nonfiction book written by David Cohen and John Kunster, published in 1996. The book provides a poignant account of a tragic event known as the Our Lady of the Angels School Fire, which occurred in Chicago on December 1st, 1958. The Our Lady of the Angels School Fire killed 92 young children and 3 nuns. The authors relate what happened in each of the 6 North Wing classrooms that were most heavily affected by the fire. Much of the story is told through the eyes of children who experienced it and lived to tell about it, as well as family members of the victims, firefighters, and clergy. The book explores the circumstances leading up to the fire, the harrowing events of that fateful day, and the aftermath, focusing on the grieving families and the broader community. This is the overall school diagram. As you can see, they had both a north wing, a south wing, and the annex that connected the two into a U shape. There was a 6-foot iron picket fence and locked gate that blocked firefighters from accessing the courtyard where students were in the windows. The source of the fire was in the stairwell in the northeast stairwell in the basement. And as you can see, there was one fire escape on the southeast corner of the second floor of the north wing. These are close-ups of the diagrams. Again, you can see the 6 classrooms. There was no fire door on the top of the staircase that led into the corridor, and there was an area of roof collapse that happened in rooms 208 and 209, which switched the firefighters' efforts from a rescue to a body recovery. The story of the event. The fire began in the basement of the school. It's been theorized that it began from either an electrical malfunction or a faulty trash incinerator. The fire quickly spread through the school, fueled by flammable materials and a lack of fire-resistant doors and walls. Smoke and flames rapidly engulfed the building. Teachers and students attempted to evacuate, but there were numerous challenges. Many exits were blocked, and some doors opened inward, making escape difficult. Panic and confusion ensued as teachers and children tried to exit the building. There was only one exterior fire escape that was shown accessible only through classroom 207. The school's fire alarm was only a local alarm and did not notify the fire department in any way. And the original calls to the Chicago Fire Department gave an incorrect address and location of the fire, so the first responding units arrived to the rectory building instead of at the school, which was located off a different street entirely. This is a timeline of the events. Most of them are approximate times. About 2:15 is when the fire started. 2:30 is when the students and teachers first noticed smoke in the second floor corridor. Just 8 minutes later, the second floor corridor became completely impassable due to smoke and fire conditions. At 2:41:30, that's when the Chicago Fire Department received the first call about the fire. And then just 2.5 minutes later is when the first fire department units arrived on scene. The major impacts and public policy changes that occurred from the fire highlighted the inadequacy of building codes and fire safety regulations in many older school buildings. As a result, there were significant revisions and updates to building codes and fire safety standards. These changes mandated improved fire-resistant construction materials, better exit routes, and more fire alarms and sprinkler systems in schools. The tragedy underscored the importance of regular fire drills and proper training for both students and staff. Schools began to conduct more frequent and realistic fire drills to ensure that everyone knew how to respond in the event of a fire. They implemented better evacuation plans and procedures to ensure a more orderly and efficient exit during a fire. The plans included designated assembly areas for students and a clear chain of command for school staff to account for all students during evacuations. The fire revealed issues with the response time and capabilities of the fire department. This led to improvements in fire department training, equipment, and coordination in responding to school fires. Smoke detectors and fire alarms became more prevalent in schools to provide early warning of fires and to ensure a quicker response. This disaster raised public awareness of the importance of fire safety and the need for greater vigilance in schools. It encouraged parents, educators, and communities to be more proactive in fire prevention and safety. There was a greater emphasis on educating students and the general public about fire safety and prevention. Fire departments and schools began to provide educational programs on fire safety. The Our Lady of the Angels fire also had an impact on fire investigation practices. The lessons learned from this tragedy contributed to advances in fire investigation techniques and forensic fire science. You can tell how much time and effort the authors put into their research into this tragedy. The first-hand accounts provide such detail to the story and keep you connected to the victims of the fire. Unfortunately, the story was very slow to start, with the authors describing both the neighborhood and church dynamics to a point you almost wanted to skip ahead to the next chapter. The first-hand accounts are also a weakness, since it was difficult to follow along with the story at times because they would provide a different person's story immediately after another, and they would be telling their version of the same events unfolding. If there were more annotations or headings, that would help you stay on track chronologically with what was happening. As both a firefighter, paramedic, and ER nurse, I found this story to be completely captivating. As I got pulled into the details, I could picture the scenes in my mind very clearly. This was the front page of the Chicago American newspaper from December 5th of 58. It shows 72 of the children who perished in the fire.